provide their card information. So if you are giving your information and if you are giving their card information, that might lead to account suspend. So again, you need to follow with AWS support guys and all. So instead of that, so follow this. So you can use this AWS account. Okay. So yeah, any other questions on previous session? Okay, what is task 2? Can you please tell again? Okay. This yesterday also I have demonstrated it, right? What is the difficulty thing in that? Have you Googled it? So you always depend on this Google Map, right? Without that, you cannot do your job even. Like, even a 10 years experienced guy also obviously depends on a Google only. Without Google, there is no developer. Without Stack Overflow, there is no developer. Okay. So, first try to search. Even before writing a message in Slack or before writing an email to me, first Google it. Okay. So, for example, here the task is I want to provide billing access to an IAM user. So first Google it. How to provide billing access to an IAM user. So here you can see delegate access to billing console is an article. Okay, that is one. And see, allow an IAM user to view my account billing information. Seems it is more relatable. Select it. Now you see what it is saying. Okay. Check that IAM entity is in denied access. So how to do that? So here he's explaining something. So you follow this. So then you can. Or another article also is there right here. So you go to this article. So he's asking you to log into AWS Management Console as a root user. Then go to your account page. There is an option called IAM user and role access to billing information. Then activate and update. So these 5 steps will allow an IAM user to enable billing access. You try this. So you always depend on trial and error method. You try, you fail, you try, you fail. Okay. So then you achieve it. Okay, please explain about permission boundary. Okay, that is not so important. Why you guys are so obsessed about it? So you got the concept of permission boundary, then it is fine. Okay, you just understand the concept. As I told you multiple times, that's not so important. Just for your interview purpose, you need to know what exactly it is. Okay. So you try it. You try it. If you are not able to do or if it is not working as expected, so then we will discuss that again. Okay. But try at least once. Right. So here in today's session, we are going to start with a module called S3. So S3 stands for? Okay, S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. Basically, S3 is a storage service in our AWS environment. First of all, what is a storage? Why we need a storage? Don't go technical. Don't go into any technical. You have storage in your home? How much storage you have in your phone? Okay. So, so where you are going to store all your items in your home? In almaras or you're going to have closets, right? So there you are going to store everything, right? So that is a storage. So basically storage means you can store something there, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You can store if you want to store all your old books, materials and all. You are going to have a bookshelf, you are going to store there. Okay. If it is like, your kitchen where you're going to have some cupboards and all, you're going to store all your kitchenware into that cupboards. So basically, storage is storing something. When coming to this S3, it is a storage service. What we can store here? We can store any file, any format file. Even if our file format is not there, also you can store there. So basically, you can store a flat file. What exactly it is? .exe format, .pdf format, okay, .word format, doesn't matter. You create an S3 bucket. Again, whatever the data you want to store in S3, you cannot store directly. For an organized manner, we have a concept called bucket. We have a concept called bucket. So you first need to create a bucket. So the bucket, while creating it, will ask us where you want to create a bucket. In AWS, we have multiple regions, right? So we have 26 or 27 regions, right? So where you want to create this bucket. So whatever the data you upload to that bucket, physically it resides in that particular availability zone. Now you are creating a bucket in Mumbai region. Then what happened? Whatever the data you upload to that Mumbai region, the data will store in Mumbai region's availability zone. We have 3 availability zones in Mumbai. AP South 1A, 1B, and 1C. AWS will pick, availability zone is nothing but a data center. AWS will pick one of the data center and it is going to write that file into that one of the data center. That is AWS job. And to give you high availability and durability, what AWS will do? AWS will maintain multiple copies in multiple data centers. Okay, so the logic is very simple, guys. See, in an organization, there is one job is there. Okay, one guy can do all the job, but they will recruit 2 guys. Yes. So there is a concept called a backup. Who is your backup? Okay. So you have one here. There is a concept called backup, right? So if something happened to the primary copy, is there any secondary copy available to deliver the request? So similar way, to provide that high availability or durability is whatever the data you upload to S3 platform, AWS will maintain multiple copies in multiple availability zones. Depend on the storage class we selected. Okay, we have some storage classes we'll discuss today itself. Okay, so, but the mechanism is, here you are uploading an object. This S3 supports, or S3 is basically a object-based storage. We have multiple types of storages. S3 is object-based storage. We have another service called EBS, Elastic Block Storage. That is a block-based storage. Block-based storage means where it allows us to install our operating system, we can run our application. Whatever application we are going to install, in hard disk drives, we are going to have blocks. We are going to have an ID called SCSI IDs, iSCSI IDs. So with that ID, whenever any request is coming, it will read data from that block and it is going to deliver. Okay, but this S3 is an object-based storage. It don't allow us to install any operating system. It won't support to install any program. We cannot run any program. It just in simple, it is AWS version of Google Drive, but with a lot of advanced options. So can you install anything in Google Drive? No. Whatever the 15 GB you have in your Google Drive, so can you install your antivirus? Can you install Instagram in that 15 GB? No, right? So you need to install in your local storage only. Your phone local storage is a block-based storage. In block-based, you can store files. You can install operating system. So where your Android operating system is installed? On that 128 GB only, on that 64 GB only. Where all the files are storing? In that 64 GB only. If you want to install different program also, you can install. That is a block-based purpose. It's designed to run operating system. But this object-based, it's just like a pen drive. Okay. Of course, even in pen drive also we can install applications. That is different thing. Don't go that much in detail, okay? So treat it like your pen drive. In pen drive, what you can do, you can copy all the files. The same thing here. Okay. So the important thing is we cannot install any program in S3. We can just store any file format and you can upload files, n number of the files, you can download n number of the files from S3 platform. Okay. So clear with basic concept of S3? Clear? Now, whatever the data you want to upload to S3, first we need to create a bucket. Technically, we call it as a bucket. So bucket is nothing but a folder with unique namespace. With unique namespace. Okay. So the unique namespace means the bucket name should be unique across the globe. Why? Why we need to have a unique name for that bucket? The logic is simple. Okay. So if you, whatever the data you upload to S3, right? If you want to share the data with another AWS account user, or if you want to share that file with everyone, yeah, that's easy, right? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So, whatever the data, so you can simply upload. For example, if you observe, till yesterday I have shared one URL, right? That avinash.pdf or demo.txt file. So how I'm sharing that? With the help of S3 only. I uploaded to S3. There is a bucket with a name called Avinash. So that bucket is dedicatedly available to me. Across the globe, no one have a bucket name with named Avinash. That is unique. Avinash is my bucket. Avinash.website is my bucket. Avinash.bucket is my bucket. These all I already created and kept it ready. Once I created it, no other guy can create a bucket with same name. So that uniqueness for the URL I have given in yesterday's session, the uniqueness is coming with that bucket name. The URL syntax is avinash.s3.amazonaws.com. That is a domain. / whatever the object you want to access, demo.txt you are giving. So that Avinash is a uniqueness. So to share such type of data to outside world, whatever the bucket you are creating, that bucket name must be unique. Okay. So can we give any naming standards we have for this bucket? Yes. Bucket name minimum 3 characters, maximum 63 characters. More than 63 characters, you cannot create a bucket. You don't need to write it. I'm giving a document. All these points are in the document. Okay. Here is a document. You can find everything in this document. You don't need to maintain any running notes. If you want, you can read that while I'm talking. Okay. So bucket, minimum characters 3, maximum characters 63. Bucket name should not start with dot, should not end with dot. No adjacent double dots. Okay. If you want to create a bucket name, a.v.i.n. you can. But if you're trying to create a.v. it won't allow. No adjacent double dots, no continuous 2 dots. And also, it should not resemble any IP address format. So that means if you're trying to create a bucket like 192.168.100.1, it won't allow us to. The reason this S3 have a inbuilt feature called static website hosting. We can host a website by using this S3 bucket. So to allow that feature, AWS don't allow us to create a bucket with this IP address format. Okay. So first, log into your AWS account. I'm assuming you guys created. If not, do it today itself. Why? Because we already progressed into our course. So create a bucket. Okay. So while creating a bucket, you follow these naming standards. So then you try to upload an object to that particular bucket. Now, object. Anything you upload to bucket, we call it as an object. As I told you, what file format doesn't matter. what file format you're using, doesn't matter. It will support. It will treat it as a flat file only. Even for example, do we have any file format with .xyz? .pdf is there, you can open it with PDF readers. .exe is there, you can install. .msi is there, Microsoft installer, you can install that program. .docx is there, with MS Office, you can open that. But do we have any file format .xyz? No, right? But still you can create a file and you can upload it, it will support it. The purpose, why I'm telling this, we cannot install, we can store anything there. Okay. And whatever the data you store there, you can download. Okay, you can download to your local laptop. You can modify it, you can re-upload it. Can't we edit that file in the S3 itself? No. As I told you, it's a flat file structure. So it won't allow us to modify the file. Okay, if you want, you can download to your local laptop. You modify, you re-upload it. You modify n number of the times you can re-upload. But within S3 platform itself, we cannot modify files on the go. Okay, so that's the reason we call it as a flat file structured one. Okay, now that object, do we have any limitation to store data in S3? We can store unlimited data. 10 TB, 20 TB, 30 TB, 500 TB, you can store. I believe yesterday I logged in and I've shown that, right? Different environments, one environment 380 GB data, one environment 150 GB data. Yesterday I've shown that. Okay, so for classroom users. Right. So similar way, you can have all your data, you can make the data available for different servers and all. Okay, that we will do in our coming sessions. So, but unlimited storage available. But we have whatever the object you are going to upload, there is a limitation for that object. So that object size should not exceed more than 5 TB. Minimum object size is 0 bytes. How small that file is doesn't matter. Can you create less than 0 bytes file? Negative file size is not available. Okay, so smallest file size is 0 bytes. You create a 0 bytes file, you upload to S3 platform, it will support. Okay, one individual file. Maximum size it supports is a 5 TB, but only one file. For example, you have 3-4 TB files. You can upload to same S3 bucket. Total size is going to be 12 TB, right? 4 TB, 4 TB, 4 TB. It's supporting. But one file size is like, 5.5 TB, one individual file. If you try to upload, it won't support. The maximum file size it support is a 5 TB. But who deals with 5 TB files? Very, very less scenarios, right? So the maximum it supports is a 5 TB. Now let's go and create an S3 bucket. Okay, let's see what options we have to upload data to S3. Now, here, oh, what happened to this? Just enable key. Okay. Right. So, yeah, I've logged into my AWS account here, and you see top right corner, I'm working as an IAM user. I'm not working as a root user. I'm working as an IAM user. Same user I'll use throughout the course. I'll strongly recommend you also follow the same. You keep your root credentials along with this IAM. You don't delete that credentials. Okay. So navigating to S3. See, I already have these buckets. Okay, why I'm not deleting these buckets? If I delete, someone may create a bucket with the same name. Okay, so once your bucket name is gone, if someone already taken your bucket name, you cannot get it back. Even if you contact AWS also, they won't tell who owns that bucket. Okay, so click on create bucket. So here we need to give the bucket name. Bucket is nothing but a folder, guys. In Windows, we call it as a folder. In Linux, we call it as a directory. In AWS, we call it as a bucket. In Azure, we call it as a blob storage or container. Okay, all are same. So bucket name, I'm giving it as a 1910 dot Avinash dot bucket. So if I add dot in front of this bucket name, it won't work. If I scroll down, if I try to create a bucket, it's giving an error. Bucket name should not start with dot. Bucket name should not end with dot. Even if you are trying to give Avinash dot dot bucket, it is not accepting. But I'm able to give multiple dots here. And also, no uppercase letter. When I gave uppercase, it is saying no uppercase letter. So I have given a bucket name, and this bucket name is unique. See, the platform is global. Okay. So the global means you can see all the region resources in a single console. You can see Northern Virginia bucket, Singapore bucket, Mumbai region bucket, whatever region that bucket is. In this page, we can see all that buckets. That's why we call it as a global. Okay. So now where my data physically need to resides. So I want to store all my data physically in Mumbai region. So selecting this region also important. Why? Because if your all customers are in US, you created a bucket in India, and if you're trying to deliver, obviously they are going to get some latency, delays. If data is very near to us, we can access it pretty quickly, less latency. So we always keep latency thing in mind while creating the resources. Okay. So as all my users are in India, I'm going to select Mumbai as a region. So then you want to copy settings from an existing bucket. Everything if you want to, you can go and select all the settings we configured there. We will get it here. Okay, fine. Now remaining options, I'll go with the default for now. Then click on create bucket. I'll explain each and every option. Don't worry. So now a bucket got created. We can see that bucket here. Okay. So now the bucket creation is completed. I want to upload some data. Objects. Technically, I want to upload some objects. If you want to create a folder for easy segregation, see, whenever you purchase your laptop or desktop, what you did, C drive and D drive. In D drive, again, what you have? Different folders. One folder for movies, one folder for songs. Within movies, again, one folder for Telugu movies, one folder for English movies. Right. So easy segregation. There is no different logic here. So if you want to maintain folder structure here, click on create folder. Technically, we call folder as a prefix in AWS. Whatever the one I'm going to create here, for example, I'm going to call it as a folder 1. In AWS terminology, we call it as a prefix. So if I want to upload data directly to this bucket, I can upload, or I can go inside folder and I can upload the data. To upload the data also, we have uploader, and also drag and drop also works. You know drag and drop? You select the file, drag it to this area, it will upload automatically. So click on upload. What file you want to upload? I'm going to select add files. If you have a folder with multiple files, select a folder also. Select a folder. Whatever the folder you have, you select it, click on upload. All the files you have inside folder will come here. Okay. So if you want to upload individual files, add files. So I want to upload this ec2.txt file. Click on open. Now it picked the file automatically and it is going to upload the data to this particular bucket. Then click on upload. Okay. Now an object is uploaded to this particular bucket. This object is uploaded to that particular bucket. Right. So now object is uploaded fine. How to open it? So select this object. Here you have an option called open. Click on open. You see here, this is a file I have uploaded. Now, is this file publicly accessible? Not yet. Whatever the bucket you created, that is created successfully. Whatever the data you uploaded, it's there. But if you navigate to this properties or permissions, here you can see it's saying bucket and objects not public. See, I'm able to open the file and I'm able to read it. Why? Because I'm working as Avinash. This Avinash guy have administrator access on AWS account. That's the reason I'm able to access it. But is this publicly accessible? Not yet. Okay. So this open is happening with Avinash underscore T user credentials. If I want to edit this, so I'm selecting this file. Do I have any option to edit it? Even if you go here, do we have an option to edit the file? Storage class is there, metadata tags, editing tags option is there, but editing file option is not available. It won't support. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, my requirement is I want to make this object publicly accessible. Yesterday, how exactly I shared the demo.txt. Similar way, this object I want to share for everyone. It need to be accessible by everyone across the globe. Whoever click on the link, file should open. That is what my requirement is. Okay. So for that, first you select the object. How we can access it? Here is the object URL. This is the publicly accessible URL. This URL is unique across the globe. So where the uniqueness is coming? With the help of this bucket name. So as I told you, this bucket, no one have it. So the uniqueness is coming with the help of this bucket name. Okay, so let's copy this. Let's copy this and let me paste it in the URL. I'm pasting it here and it is saying access denied. Not only here, I'm going to paste this in our chat box. Even if you click also, it is going to give same thing, access denied. Across the globe, same URL, guys. Okay. So now, the reason we have not made this bucket public, not made this data public, multiple levels are there to make data public. The first level is entire account level. Second level is bucket level. Third level is object level. In our case, this ec2.txt is this. Bucket is like this is bucket. At account level also, we have one setting. So by defaultly, this will be open. The logic is very simple, guys. Just treat this object as a cache. You are going to put your cache at gate. You are going to put your cache at main door. You will put it somewhere else in Birua, right? So if you want to reach that cache, you first need to cross the gate. Then you need to cross the main door. Then you need to come to that that locker door. So then only you can access, right? So multiple levels. If first level is blocked, can we go to Birua level? If gate is locked, can we go to the locker level? No, right? If main door is locked, can we go to locker level? No, right? So this permission need to be open. That is the first thing. This permission also need to be open. That is second thing. So then this permission need to be open. Then only the user can access. You opened here, you have not opened here. Then can he access? No. Okay. So all three levels must be open. Then only we can make any object public. So for that, first account level. In left pane, here, when you click on these three lines, you can find an option, block public access settings for this account. It is going to block entire public access. You click on that, you see here, block all public access is off. So that means we are good. If this is on, if block all public access is on, so now what happened? Whatever the objects I made public, whatever the buckets I have in this account, Those all will not work. I'm locking at my gate level itself. Okay. So this is one option. Now, second option is bucket level. So you select the bucket. So then go to permissions. It is saying bucket and objects not public. Okay. So scroll down. You see here, block all public access is on. This is bucket level. Click on edit. Uncheck this. So then click on save. You need to write confirm. Sometimes accidentally you click on save, and if it is giving directly okay, you click on okay, that will take effect. All the users are going to get affected. If you really want to modify this setting, you need to write confirm here. Then click on confirm. So fine, this is bucket level. Bucket level also fine. Immediately this got changed. Objects now can be public. But how we can make these objects public? We have two options. One is ACL, second one is bucket policy. So I'll explain ACL process now. We have a session on bucket policy. If we scroll down here, we have, after 2 or 3 sessions later, we will discuss this. So now, if you go to this object, if you navigate to this object actions, last option, make public using ACL, is still disabled. ACL stands for access control list. Who can access this data? Who have permission to modify the permissions? Who have permission to share this data? Those all will be called as a ACL. It is not a new concept. If you go to your Windows laptop, you navigate to property of any file. You go to property of file, there is a tab called security in Windows operating system. There you can find who all are the users you have. Here in Mac operating system, right? Click on get info. If you scroll down, you see this is current user, he have read and write. Other users have read-only access. Everyone have read-only access on this particular object. So similar way, by defaultly permissions are with AWS only. And it is not allowing us to modify ACLs. The reason is here under permissions, there is an option called object ownership. Object ownership is enforced to bucket owner. So ACLs are disabled. You see this? When ACL is disabled, can we modify them? No. You go to object ownership, edit, enable ACL. Okay. Under object ownership, you can find it. Enable ACL. I acknowledge. Then scroll down. Save changes. Now ACL is enabled. Okay. If you want to make this object public, still this URL is not working. See, we made bucket public. We made account level permissions also open, but still we are not able to. The reason, object level also you need to. So go to object actions, make public using ACL. Now this option is enabled. If this option is in disabled state, that means your ACL is in disabled state. So click on make public using ACL, then click on make public. Now this object become public. So go back here, the URL is same. If I give a refresh now, you see it is working. Not only here, across the globe, this URL works now. This URL will works now. Okay, so this is how exactly you can make an object public. So this we did after bucket creation. Can't we do this while creating a bucket itself? We can. I'll show that now. Click on create bucket. I'm giving 1910.public.avinash is a bucket name. Scroll down. ACLs, you want to enable ACLs? If you set it to yes, now ACLs are going to be enabled. Bucket owner is going to have all the preferences. Scroll down, block all public access, uncheck it. What you need to do, you need to acknowledge that. Then scroll down. You want to give any tag? Tags are metadata for what project you are creating these resources. Okay. So for who created this, when created this, these all information you can add as part of tags. Then scroll down, create a bucket. Now bucket got created. So now whatever the data you upload, I'm adding a file demo.txt, scroll down, upload. Now this is an object. Now my bucket level permissions are open. My account level permissions are open. Can I access it? No. Object level is not open. Go to object actions, make public using ACL, make public. So then grab this URL, give it, and you can see that here. Okay. While creating bucket itself, you can open up those mentioned permissions. Okay. So now one point to add. Very, very, very rare cases we are going to make our data public. Here, this is a primary feature, one of the primary feature. That's the reason we are discussing it. But in organization, our client data or customer data is very, very important to us. If it is compromised, they will get into issues. So even we are going to maintain some standards, guys. We will have some policies like a DLPs, data loss prevention policies. Okay. If anyone made any S3 bucket public, we will treat that as a non-compliant resource. We will create an incident. We will ask them why you created this, why you made this bucket public. Okay. So where the data is transferred, we will investigate all those. If we are satisfied with that answer, he have his job. Otherwise, like a kind of memo or threat to his job itself. Depends on how severity the data is, how secure the data is. Okay. How important the data is depends on that. So in organization level or enterprise level, we never make data public. Okay. Here we are using why? Because we have this feature. Got it? So this is the primary purpose of this. Now, if you observe this, whatever the data I'm sharing, there is a URL. If you observe this URL syntax, HTTPS, so then we have S3, then the region code where this bucket got created, in what region this bucket got created, then this is common URL, amazonaws.com. So then the bucket name, then the object name. Okay, this is a syntax. Basically, we call this as a standard object URL. But if you don't have dot in the bucket name, whatever the URL I have shared, so that not this much lengthy, right? So yesterday I have shared this demo.txt. If you observe this URL, it is a bit simple compared to that. The reason is we don't have dot in the bucket name. That's the reason we have an option called virtual URLs. We have standard URL and virtual URL. This is a virtual URL path. https:// bucket name .s3.amazonaws.com, then object name. Okay. So whatever URL you are using, that is a unique one. But just you might get a doubt. Okay, yesterday you shared a simple one, but now it is looking very lengthy. The reason we have dot in the bucket name. So it won't support virtual paths. So we can use this URL if we don't have dot. Okay. So this is very basic introduction to S3. Right. So if you have any questions now on the topics we discussed so far, we can discuss now. Okay. Can we give access to limited number of members instead of public? Yes, we can. That we will discuss. One bucket is moved into another bucket. Is there any option to make it? See, one bucket, we cannot move it to another bucket. Whatever the data you have in bucket 1, you can move all the data to bucket 2. Okay. So, but bucket itself, entire bucket itself, we cannot move. Okay. Sir, we missed the session of first 20 minutes. Can you please explain? I'll do one thing. I'll ask Naresh team to make this URL also, this also public for everyone. So basically, I'm not sure what to call you. So here S3 is a object-based storage. It's just like a Google Drive. We can upload all the data into this S3 bucket. We have bucket concept here. We can create a bucket. So you need to follow some naming standards while creating the bucket. These are the standards. So once your bucket is created, we can upload all the data to that bucket. That is what discussed in our first 20 minutes. Again, in first 20 minutes, we have discussed previous things only. Okay, so we just started discussing about S3. Please show the differences between URLs. Okay, sure. So these are the URLs. This is a standard URL. So this is a virtual path. Okay, so you will get your bucket name here itself in virtual path, but you will get bucket name here in the standard URL. Whether you have dot or don't have dot, this works. But this virtual path works if you don't have dot. That is a limitation. Okay, same thing, whatever the one I have explained. If you want to make any object public, step 1 level, step 2 level, step 3 level. Okay, you follow this. Now, let's discuss about storage classes we have in AWS. Now, whatever the data we are going to upload to this S3 bucket, okay, so are you going to access all the data on daily basis? The logic is simple. In your home, you have some storage devices, right? Storages like a cupboards and all. So whatever the items you have in that cupboards, are you going to access all the items on daily basis? Whatever the one you access frequently, where you kept it? Handy. For example, your mobile phone. Are you going to kept it in a locker or like the what that call it? So cupboard? Are you going to keep it in a cupboard? No, right? You will always keep in your pocket. Your pocket also is a storage. Your pocket also is a storage. You can store money, you can store your headset, you can store your phone, you can store your bike key. Right. It is also a storage. So your phone from morning to evening, how many times you are going to look at your phone? 1,000 times. Seriously. Okay, reduce it. Okay. So you are going to look at your phone n number of the times. Okay, fine. Where you are going to keep your books? Come on, how many times you are going to access daily basis? Once? Seriously? I don't believe. You have your laptop, right? So where you are going to keep your laptop? Bag how many times? Daily, multiple times only for watching movies, for for chatting in Facebook and all, for watching movies. YouTube, you will spend a lot of time with your laptop compared to more time with laptops compared to your books. So phone n number of the times, laptop countable. Okay, book very very less. Okay, and your degree certificate, how many times? You see, whenever you got a job and when that guy want to physically verify that, at that time only you are going to. Otherwise, you will put it in a uh, somewhere in locker. That's not so important to put it in locker. Okay. So you see here things access pattern. Why I gave these examples, I want to talk about access patterns. All items are yours, all importance only. So, but how frequently you are accessing and how much time it is going to take that. How much time it is going to take your phone from your pocket? Seconds, 3 seconds or 5 seconds. How much time it is going to take your laptop? 1 minute. How much time it is going to take your get your books? 1 hour. How much time it is going to take your get your certificate here? Lot of time. Okay. So the object is same, but you need all how quickly you can get it. If you lose any of these, you will get into trouble. If you lost your phone, if you lost your book or your certificate or your desktop, right, you will get into trouble. So all the data is important to you. But whenever you require that, how quickly you are able to access. Technically, that we call it as a access pattern. When you required, is it available immediately or not? Okay. Is it available immediately or not? And how many times you are accessing? These two things we call it as a access pattern. Based on the access pattern, we are going to choose different storage classes in our AWS environment. The first storage class is S3 standard. This is like your phone. Whatever the data you are going to access frequently, whatever data you access frequently, you can store all the data into S3 in S3 standard. That is a default storage class. That is a default storage class. Okay. So now you have some data that you need it immediately whenever you required, but you're not going to access immediately. You're not going to access a number of the times per day, just like your laptop. You need it. Whenever you want that, you really don't need to spend much time to get that. It should be available immediately. Okay. If you give it to your friend, will it available immediately? No, right? So if you need a laptop, you need to call him, you need to ask him to get it to you. So then only you can use it. So you're not okay to give it to your friend. You need it immediately, but you're not accessing on daily basis, just like your phone. Such type of data we can store in a storage class called standard infrequently access or one zone infrequently access. IA, the name in both standard IA, one zone IA. So the name only telling it's infrequently accessed. Okay, just like standard, you can access it immediately, but less number of times you are accessing. So you choose standard infrequently access as a storage class. What is the advantage you are going to get? Less cost. The cost is going to be less. So you might get a doubt intelligently. Hey, Avinash, you are saying standard data available immediately, infrequent data also available immediately. And this is costing less, right? I can put all my data in infrequently access and I can access on daily basis, right? In this scenario, cost is going to be equal. Okay, I'll talk about that costing. So based on our access pattern, we will choose that. Now the third storage tier is Glacier. In Glacier, we have Glacier Instant Retrieval, Glacier, and Glacier Deep Archive. But use case for all these three is same. So you will have your data. But whenever you require the data, you cannot immediately open and start using it. It's like giving your laptop to your friend. So where is your laptop? Is your laptop dead or gone? No, it's with your friend. It's with your friend. So laptop is there. But can you immediately, for example, if I ask you to open your laptop, can you open and can you start working on it? No, right? It's with your friend. So you need to call your friend. So your friend need to get the laptop. Then you can start working on it. Once it is with you, you can access it immediately. Similar way, whatever the data you are storing in Glacier, you cannot access it immediately. You can see the file, but you cannot open it. If you want to open that object, you need to initiate a restoration. Once you initiate a restoration, now it will take some time. The restoration will take minimum 3 to 5 minutes if the object is small. 3 to 5 hours if object size is huge. If it is a bulk retrieval, it is going to take 5 to 12 hours also. Okay. So the important thing is you have your file, it's not deleted, but you cannot open it immediately. If you need it, you initiate a restoration, you will get that file. Once you got that file, you can open and you can view it. And while you're doing restoration, you need to mention, okay, I want to view this file immediately for coming 5 days or 10 days. For that 10 days duration, you can access it immediately. Okay. So technically, these are the access pattern. Now you have some data. So that data is like, uh, you're not sure when you're going to access it, how you're going to access it. The data access patterns are unknown. You're not sure whether you're going to access it on daily basis or monthly ones, or like, you don't require the data. You're not sure. In that scenario, we can use intelligent tier configuration. Based on our access, AWS is going to change access patterns automatically. So that intelligent tiering is going to cost more compared to this. So these are the different storage classes here. S3 standard infrequently accessed, one zone, glacier instant retrieval. Just understand here, understanding the access pattern is important. And if you are going to write solution architect certification exam, you can expect one question on S3. Most of the times that question will come related to the storage classes only. Okay. So it's important to understand the storage classes. See, we worked on a project. So I'll tell you real example. We worked on a project for one of the Hyderabad-based MNC hospital. Hospital is very huge. You might that hospital is in news. Whenever any COVID patients are coming, they are sending tablets with the robots, the small robots. They even nowadays robot is serving dosa, idli and all in hotels, right? So they're sending it with that robots and all. Because of that, they become a bit famous. So they really don't want to maintain any manual patient record. Everything is digitalized. So for every doctor goes for rounds, he's going to hold a Apple tablet. Okay. So iPad. So every patient will have a patient ID. So one in-house patient is there. So doctor comes to the round and multiple doctors comes to the rounds, right? From morning to evening, as he's an in-house patient, one nutrition will come, one regular doctor, one specialist. Multiple times they will come and they will check. Okay. So patient data you're accessing n number of the times per day. What is a suitable storage class here? Name is there? S3 standard. So S3 standard is a suitable one. Why? Because from morning to evening you're accessing multiple times. Okay, this is one scenario. Now, patient discharged from hospital, but he recovered from critical illness. So you told to him that, okay, if you are facing any difficulty, he can visit the hospital immediately. Okay. Now my question, is he going to visit hospital on daily basis? Do you really need to have his records in S3 standard? When he comes to the hospital, you need to get access to his records immediately. If he comes with any issue, you cannot ask him to, okay, you wait here. We need to restore your data. Will he accept that? No, right? So here the scenario is when the patient comes, we need to get access to data immediately. But I'm not accessing on daily basis. So in this scenario, we can go with the standard infrequently access or one zone infrequently access. The difference between these two here is standard infrequently access maintain 3 or more copies in backend. See, you see here, I have uploaded one object here called demo.txt. What is the storage class? Standard. If your data is in standard storage class, AWS will maintain minimum 3 copies in 3 different data centers. Why? The reason AWS want to provide these availability and durability values. Again, if you ask me, hey Avinash, you said AWS is maintaining 3 copies. This is 1 copy. Show me remaining 2 copies. No, we cannot see that. Okay. So here it looks like only 1 copy only, but in backend, AWS will maintain 3 different copies in 3 different data centers. 1 copy in 1A, another copy in 1B, 1 copy in 1C. If one data center goes down also, we are not going to get affected. Why? Because we have our data. So to give you that availability and durability. Okay. So the availability and durability, right? So for that, AWS is maintaining multiple copies. If it is a standard, maintains 3 copies. If it is a one zone, it maintains only 1 copy. That's the reason availability value is less. Compared to this standard, it's 99.99 percentage available. Here, 99.5 percentage is the available value for one zone infrequently accessed. If the data is critical, then go with the standard. If data is not so critical, then go with the one zone. Cost difference comes with cost. One zone is 40% lesser cost compared to standard infrequently accessed. Okay, so then we have Glacier. So when coming to this Glacier, so now the example is, so not only for that in-house patients and all, for outpatients also they are giving an patient ID. But the thing is, if they want to visit hospital, they need to take a prior appointment 24 hours before. So you have 24 hours to restore the data, right? So you have enough time to restore the patient information. The patient is not coming to hospital immediately to get access to his data. We have enough time to initiate the restoration. So for that purpose, we can use Glacier. If you are not sure what category this is, simply go and add it into intelligent tier. Based on access, data will be available immediately. But how frequently you are accessing, how many times you are accessing, based on that, it changes storage classes automatically. So that is AWS responsibility. Here also data replicates 3 copies. In Glacier also replicates 3 copies. Apart from one zone infrequently accessed, remaining all storage classes, data replicate across 3 availability zones. Okay. So now clear with these storage classes. Any questions on the storage classes? We can change object from one storage class to another storage class manually, automatically. That is our next session topics. Okay. How to automate the transition is our tomorrow's session topic. I am not going to talk about that now. Okay. So clear with this? Right. So now let's log in and let's see how we can manage these storage classes. This one, right? This is a durability, chances to lose the data. The chances to lose the data out of 100% is like, so 0.000000001% chances are there to lose the data. In simple, if you are storing 100 million files into an S3 bucket, over a year, there may be chance to miss one single file. Okay, so that is a durability value.
So retrieving from Glacier will take more time, right? When compared to S3.
Restoration of Glacier will take time. That's what I'm going to demonstrate now.
Okay.
Okay, I'll demonstrate now. Right. So now I want to access this s3.txt file. Let me take different bucket. The data is, I need it. So I have this ec2.txt. Now it is in standard. Can I open it immediately? When it is in S3 standard, we are able to open it immediately. I can open it a number of the times. Okay, fine. I'm going to change the storage class now. Navigating to EC2, properties. Under the storage class, we have standard. Click on edit. Then I'm selecting standard infrequently accessed. Then save changes. You see here, infrequently accessed data with millisecond access. Then click on save changes. Now, this object ec2.txt file is in standard infrequently accessed. I want to access it. I can go here, click on open, and file is opened. Even though it is in infrequently accessed, I'm able to open it immediately, right? Is it asking us to wait? Or is it asking us to perform any restoration? No. So both are same, but it is designed to store infrequently access. Even if you change it to standard in one zone infrequently access also, same thing. But the mechanism is the data will store only in backend one availability zone. AWS don't maintain 3 copies. Okay, that is the first difference. And cost. As AWS is maintaining only one copy, 40% lesser cost compared to this. So that is the difference between standard infrequently and standard one zone infrequently. Now it is in one zone infrequently access. Select it, click on open. You see, I'm able to access it immediately. No delay, nothing, right? Okay. So, but AWS is maintaining only one copy in backend. So that is one zone infrequently access. Now, let's change the storage class to Glacier. In Glacier, as I told you, we have 3 types. Okay. So Glacier, the regular Glacier or flexible retrieval, how much time it is going to take restoration? 1 minute to 5 hours, it depends. If you are using Glacier instant retrieval, once you can get it immediately, again multiple times you cannot get it. So this Glacier Deep Archive, it is going to take 5 to 12 hours. It depends on the option we are selecting. So this is very, among these 3, this is very, less cost. This is moderate cost. This is the cheapest one. So now let's navigate to here and I'm going to edit the storage class and I'm going to select Glacier Flexible Retrieval. This is commonly used one. Now scroll down, save changes. Okay, fine. Now this object is in Glacier. If I select this, is this open option enable? Can I open it? No, right? So when object is in Glacier, am I able to open immediately? No. If I really want to, I need to initiate the restoration. Select it. You see, this object is stored in Glacier. In order to access it, you first restore it. Okay. So for that, initiate restore here. Select that initiate restore. So for how many days you want to access this immediately? For coming 2 days, I want to access it immediately. For coming 3 days. So for these 3 days, a temporary copy is going to create. After 3 days, again, it won't be available immediately. So I'm going to select 1 day. Now, how quickly you want to perform this retrieval? If you select bulk retrieval, 5 to 12 hours. If you select standard retrieval, 3 to 5 hours. If you select expedited retrieval, 1 to 5 minutes. Either it may be 1 minute or 5 minutes. There is no guarantee. It's 1 to 5. So I'm selecting last option here. Then scroll down, click on initiate restore. Now this object restoration is in progress. So again, if I select here, it's still not available. Why? Because restoration is not completed. Once restoration is completed, then I can open it. For how many days? For coming 1 day, I can access it immediately. So this is a Glacier mechanism. I hope now it is clear. Instead of theoretically, we have seen this hands-on, right? Now, you have some data, you're not at all sure, like, when you're going to access it, well, you're not sure about your access patterns. In that scenario, what you can do is you can select intelligent tiering. AWS will take care about access patterns, data with changing or unknown access patterns. Scroll down, save changes. So now this file will be available immediately, but it is with intelligent tiering. Select it, open it, I'm able to access it. If I don't access it for 1 week and all, it might change its storage class automatically. Okay, in backend it will store. That AWS will do. Okay, so that is a intelligent tiering. Along with this, we do have another storage class called RRS, redundant reduced storage. This is not recommended. Not recommended. Why? Because S3 standard is more cost effective. Initially, it's there, but nowadays no one is using it. Okay, AWS itself is saying it's not recommended. So, in which purpose we can use this? For non-critical, frequently accessed data we can use. Even if you lost some data also, no issue. In that scenario, we can use it. For non-critical data, we can go with this option. Okay, so that is a RRS option. So these are the different storage classes. The initial restoration is now completed. You see, when I select ec2.txt, I can open it now. How many times I can open? I can open multiple times. For coming one day, I can open it immediately. So that is what the Glacier mechanism. Can I modify the storage classes? You see, when it is in Glacier, is this edit option is allowing? No. So there is a flow. That's what we will discuss in our next session. But we cannot come back from Glacier to different storage classes. If you want, you can delete it. From Glacier, you have an option to delete. But from Glacier, we cannot get it back to standard or infrequently accessed. That is a limitation. Okay, remaining all storage classes we can change. For example, it is intelligent tiering. Okay, I decided to change it to standard. I can go and change it to standard. It got changed. But in similar way, are we able to change that Glacier one? No. Once it is in Glacier, we cannot change to any other storage classes. Only one option, we can delete it. Okay? Yeah. So again, somehow you have this file at any cost, you want to get a same copy, but with S3 standard. What we can do? Simply download it, file downloaded, now upload it. Now, if you upload, what happens? It will take S3 standard as a default storage class. So we have ways to do it, but there is no direct option to edit the storage class when it is in Glacier. Okay. Sorry. Merge? No, it is a object based. There is no comparison between to perform merging. Merging is and all that's blog based, GitHub and all it supports, but not this one. Okay. So yeah. Any questions, Pawan? Any questions, Vinay? You guys are unmuted. That's the reason I'm mentioning your names. If you don't have any questions, please be on mute.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, hi Avinash. Actually, I have one question. If I upload any file in the bucket, okay, and if I keep in public, okay, can I put a restriction? No one can download or no one can copy the data. Is it available?
Okay, so here the question is, your object is public. When your object is public, okay, so public means anyone can access. So there is nothing like, you can restrict them to only copy such type of things. So once your object is public, whoever have this URL, they can download it. They can download it or they can copy the data. So one thing you need to understand here. So when I'm clicking on this URL, it's opening that object, right? So basically that is not S3 feature. That is my browser inbuilt feature. For example, when I'm opening this demo.txt, there is a URL. When I click on this URL within the browser itself, it is opening. This is not S3 feature. This is Chrome feature. Now let's see one thing. I have this script. Okay, if I try to open this, I'm going to copy same URL. If I'm clicking on this, so let me take a MSI. Let me take a simple file, okay? All right. So I'm going to upload one object. That file format is .msi. Yeah. This is one of the MSI file format. And I'm uploading here to my S3 bucket. What is the file size? Seems very slow internet. Okay, so now file successfully uploaded here. That is in .msi format. So when I'm trying to open this file, you just observe what happens. It opened and it is automatically downloading to my local laptop. So the reason is this file format is not supported by my Chrome browser. Okay, so these files you are able to open it here. Why? Because Chrome have a feature to open automatically these TXT files and all. So, here you cannot modify any files. The platform itself, as I told you, it's a flat file structure, object-based storage. So you cannot modify any file. If you want to, you need to download to your local. Even this demo.txt is open. Fine. Can I modify this data? Is it allowing? Do I have any edit option here? But when I save it, when I go here, save as, so then when I save it to my desktop, then I can use some tool and I can modify it, right? So S3 don't have capability to modify or edit any files. All right. Okay, let's talk about free tier limitation before closing the session. So only S3 standard comes under free tier eligibility. If you are using any other storage classes apart from S3 standard, it won't comes under free tier eligibility. It won't comes under free tier eligibility. Only S3 standard 5 GB comes under free tier eligibility. Okay? 5 GB comes under free tier eligibility. And you can perform 2000 uploads, 20,000 downloads per month. This value is going to reset to 0 every month first. So if you want to practice, upload 10 objects, download 100 times. That is absolutely fine. And practice with simple PDF documents, Word documents, simple notepad text files. Do not practice with 1 GB file or 2 GB files. Not recommended. So 5 GB is too sufficient to practice. Even in my account, I have 241 objects. The size is 36 MB only. Okay, so we can be within free tier limitation if you take care about these things. So here I wrote that S3 free tier is written here. So the first task is enable free tier alerts. How to do that step-by-step process is here. I already shown you this, but still you guys go and do this. Enable free tier alerts. First thing. Second thing, create an S3 bucket, upload an object, make that object public. These two regarding S3. Now, I have one more task that is related to IIM. Okay, so the task is, okay, so create a policy to allow everything in S3 Okay. But user should be able to create a bucket in Mumbai region. Okay. So for that, you need to create a policy. I'll quickly show you. You need to add a condition for that. Or else, create a policy, allow everything in an AWS account. Technically, it's an administrator access. You need to give, but add a condition. So the condition should restrict him to perform any activity only in Mumbai region. So how to test it? Create a bucket in Mumbai region. Create a bucket in Mumbai region. Okay. It should work. But if he try to create bucket in any other region, it should fail. How to do this? I'll show you the steps. I want you to follow that and do the same thing. First, go to policies, take another screen. Okay, there is a policy named administrator, right? There is a administrator access. Whatever the JSON script you have here, copy everything. Copy everything. Go here, create a policy. Fine. Choose JSON and delete everything, paste it. Now under Visual Editor, it is going to pick all actions and all. Now, do not touch these three. Do not touch these three. Add a specific request condition. I want to allow everything, but if that guy is accessing from a specific IP address, for that you can add this condition. But this I don't want to. Why? Because if you want to test, you need to switch between the networks. So instead of that, here you have an option called add condition. Click on add condition. Condition key. Here, AWS region. AWS requested region. Okay. Qualifier for all values in request, for any values in request. Try both. There is no harm in that. Try both. Which one is working, which one is not working. Okay. For any value in request, operation strings equal to AP South 1, then add. Try string not equals to and test it. Try here for any value and all value, and here string equals to, string not equals to. Then click on add. Now what happens? So it will allow everything only in Mumbai region. Now create it. Next step, review. So admin Mumbai region. Okay, he's a Mumbai admin. Now you're creating a policy here, right? Create a new user, add this policy to that user, log in as that user, go to S3. You know how to create a bucket now. Create a bucket in Mumbai region, it should allow. Create a bucket by selecting Singapore region or Sydney region, it should not allow. That is what the task. I know you need to spend some time to achieve this, but it's not so hard. Why? Because I explained everything. All you need to do is create one for scenario, test it. Create another one for another scenario, test it. Which one is working, which one is working, have that. Okay. So
Avinash, Sanjeev here. One question.
1 second. Can you explain how to create a password policy only for one single IAM user? There is no option to restrict password policy for one single IAM user. Yes, Sanjeev, please go ahead.
So can we provide some restriction, duration restriction for public URL? Like for public URL, I want to restrict for 1 hour.
Okay, we have. Okay, here the question from Sanjeev is, I want to make an object public, but that URL should expire after specific duration. We can, for that, we have an option called pre-signed URL concept. Now you see, let me take an object here for that. I need to clean up some resources here. All right. So here, this s3.txt object is there. I want to make it public, but the URL should work only for 1 minute or 30 seconds. For that, share with a pre-signed URL. Select that. How many minutes you want to? For example, create a pre-signed URL. It must be 1. If it is a CLI, we can mention in seconds format also. So you gave 1, create pre-signed URL, copy pre-signed URL. This URL works. Okay. But this URL works only for coming 1 minute. After 1 minute, this URL is going to expire automatically. So yes, we have an option. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes, thank you. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Hi, Avinash.
Yes, please.
Avinash, you told about hospital and the patient access for daily using simple storage. If it is discharged from the hospital, we are using which kind of storage that is?
Can you repeat the question, Vinay?
Avinash, when patient is admitted, we will be using the data frequently, daily basis, no? When he is get discharged, no, what kind of storage will be using? That I didn't get it. Hello.
I think we are not able to hear you, Avinash.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, Avinash, we can hear you.
Yeah. How to create a password policy? One single user. It is not possible. For one single user, creating a password policy is not possible.
Avinash, you didn't answer my question.
I didn't get your question. I asked you to repeat that.
Avinash, when the patient is admitted, we will be accessing the daily based data on the simple storage. No, when is get discharged, what kind of data we will be using? Kind of storage you explained, no, that one.
Yes, I explained. But if he recovered from a critical illness, right?
Okay.
So he is not going to visit hospital again and again, right? But when
Yes,
he comes, you don't want to wait. In that scenario, you can use infrequently access. You can access immediately, but you are not accessing on daily basis.
Okay.
Okay. So in that scenario, use infrequently access.
Infrequently access. Okay.
Yes.
Avinash, like I have a question. Like I would like to know how to upload the file and download the file into S3 from command line.
Command line, we have a dedicated session on that, Sripati. So
Okay.
we will discuss that when we launch our servers. From servers itself, I'm going to explain that instead of my
Okay.
local machine.
Okay.
How to change pattern based on age? That is our tomorrow session, Chandra. We will discuss that tomorrow. Okay.
Hi, Avinash, Ravi.
Yes, please.
This is Ravi here. Okay,
Yeah,
so
Ravi.
I just wanted to check regarding the intelligent tiering that you explained earlier. So when we place certain object in the intelligent tiering, so if it's not used or if it goes to an infrequently accessed one, so does the class change or does it still show as infrequent or intelligent tiering?
Okay, so the storage class, it will show as an intelligent tire only, whether you are accessing it or not accessing it. But you observe this pricing mechanism here. So based on this, how many times you are accessing? Okay, so how many times the data retrieval happening? So based on this, we are going to get charged. In intelligent tiring, the logic is simple. It will always, whether you are accessing on daily basis, not accessing, it won't change any storage class. But if you're not accessing it, the price is going to be equal to Glacier. If you're accessing on daily, the price is equal to storage. So these three factors comes whenever that S3 pricing comes to the scenario.
Okay, so if you're placing an object in intelligent tiering, and if we are not using it, so it goes, maybe it is considering it as a Glacier data.
That's a backend mechanism. So for intelligent tiring also we have archives. So intelligent tiring will come to the scenario with respect to standard and infrequently access. So if you want to apply archival for intelligent tiring, we have an option. Whenever we go to bucket properties, there is an option called intelligent tiring archive configuration. So you have one object in intelligent tiring, you have not accessed that object from last 200 days or 180 days. Automatically, we can move it to intelligent tiring archive, just like a Glacier. Okay, so intelligent tiring is if you're not sure whether you need data immediately, but you are going to access daily or multiple times a month or multiple times a quarter. In such type of unknown access patterns, we can use.
Okay.
All right, we will talk about this also in our coming sessions.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, so I'll upload this object again, or I'll do one thing. I'll add same information to our demo.txt. So we are going to have a standard location. Okay, I'll share that. See, waiting for Naresh team's confirmation. So today also they allowed some of you. Okay, so the URL is going to be same, whatever the URL you have taken. Whatever the URL you have taken a snap, right? So the URL is going to be same. You can access with the same link.
Can you share the URL once again, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
So now you know how I'm making this public, right? Yeah. So whatever the task I have given here, whatever the task, not added to appropriate one. No.
And Avinash, I'm sorry, I actually sent you a message, a question in the message box. I'm not sure if you got a chance to go through it. But I just wanted to check if there would be any limitation for the number of buckets that we can create in an account, or maybe the number of files that we can upload.
Okay, since I missed that question. So how many buckets we can create in an AWS account is the question here. So this value is an adjustable one. First thing, we can create 100 buckets in an AWS account. That is a default, that is not the maximum. If you want to create more than 100 buckets, you need to raise a service quota request. Here, we have a service called service quotas. go to service quotas. Go to service quotas and search for S3. Amazon Simple Storage Service. You see here, there is an option called buckets. Current default quota is 100. Is this quota adjustable? Yes. So you select it, click on request quota increase. How many buckets you want to create? 200, 2000, you request and AWS will allow that. Okay, the default quota is 100.
And there wouldn't be any cost incurred in case if there is a change in the quota?
No, for changing the quota, there is no cost involved. Even you can create 100 buckets, you won't get charged. So bucket creation is free. Within that bucket, if your data storage is exceeding 5 GB, then only you will get charged. So you really no need to practice only with one bucket. You can create 10 buckets also, but make sure your entire data in your S3 platform should not exceeding 5 GB. You are not performing more than 2000 uploads and 20,000 downloads.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So here is a URL. Same URL. There is no change in that URL.
I don't think it's public. I cannot access it.
Yes, sir, we can't access it.
Is it? It's working here, right? Okay. Seems it's previous copy loaded from cache. So sometimes happens. Now it's working. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you scroll down here, you can find and concentrate on this task, guys. Why? Because we used it in real environments. Okay. So concentrate on that. All right. That's it for this session. We will see again tomorrow. Thank you, guys.